Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. EQOA Nostalgia here, and another year has gone by. EverQuest Online Adventures is now officially 12 years old. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it seems like the older you get, the faster time goes. It's like you just kind of step into some sort of fucking time paradox where it just progressively speeds up, and I don't know, maybe it's because you're more aware that you're getting older. But it seems to me like I just did this video. Like, if I had to gauge it in my mind 5, 6 months ago. But no, it's been a year. And in that year, there have been people working on trying to get this game back together. And, you know, a year ago I wasn't able to sit down and run through the world like I am now. Which is just amazing that we're able to do that. But I always feel like I just wish things would be faster in that regard. You know, I want to play the game now, as it was before, and it's never going to be that way. Even if everything works out with the people that are working on the game, and everything goes beautifully smooth, and Daybreak Games doesn't sue anybody. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. It'll never be the same because you just can't go back to that time, and I've touched on that several times. As a matter of fact, I'm sure I'm going to be repeating myself more than once in this video since I've pretty much exhausted this topic. I feel like I absolutely have to talk about it. I can't. I was thinking, well, maybe I'll skip this year, you know, bring out something next year. Hopefully there'll be a playable version of EverQuest Online Adventures by then, but I can't do that. I just can't. And it's funny because I started to notice more comments on my videos related to EverQuest Online Adventures. I probably picked up about a week ago, and now I'm getting like 4 or 5 comments a day. So you know you're getting really close to the anniversary because people are starting to think about it, and they're taking that trip down nostalgia lane. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say obligated to do it. I feel privileged to do it, to talk about it, because, you know, people actually listen to what I have to say, and that still amazes me that people actually listen to me drone on about this shit. But, you know, it's become my duty to talk about it, and I take that seriously. So the first thing I want to talk about is basically where the game stands right now. Last I've heard, because contrary to popular belief, I'm not in constant contact with the people that are working on the game. Like, I can open up Messenger and talk with them, but it's not something that I do. I just wait for them to update the status, just like everybody else does on Facebook with the EQOA revival page. And right now it seems like they've got a server kind of up, but I don't think they can log into it. Like, they can name it, and they can get into the server list and see the servers, and they can, like, tinker around with that. So they're starting to work with that now, the whole networking thing and the stuff that's just not very fun. I would imagine it's really boring trying to figure out how to get that coding to work. The fun stuff, I'm thinking, would be along the lines of trying to get specific NPCs back into the game. And I talked about how some of the NPCs that were in the save state, we're now able to play as them. You can select through different avatars that were in that area, which is something like, I'd say maybe like a 50-foot radius around where the save state was captured. And I wish I would have known how to do that back in the day, because I would have went everywhere and just captured save states so we had all the NPCs. But yeah, right now there are people that are able to play as the different characters that were around, you know, Freeport, like the ogre. I haven't laid down the video yet, but I'm probably gonna be running around as an ogre in the video. I'm doing the commentary separate. But yeah, they've made some progress. I mean, I'd say they've made a pretty decent amount of progress when you consider the fact that it's just a few of them. Now, there is another thing I haven't mentioned, and I feel pretty guilty about it. I just haven't gotten around to mentioning it, is the Writers Guild. The Writers Guild is basically a bunch of people that are coming together, and I believe it's still open to anybody who wants to join. People who are coming together to put the lore back into the game, or possibly writing new lore things that we can put in for like quest givers and stuff like that. It's something that I think is pretty ambitious right now just because we don't know if the game will be back, but it would be really nice to have all that stuff laid out already so we can get into the game quickly. You know, I think they're looking for people who remember things as well. I think a lot of the dialogue was written down, so they need people that can remember that stuff, and you know, just creative people who don't mind telling a story. Because right now, it's pretty much been decided that it's going to be impossible to get all the quests back, like all the dialogue, because there's no way we could have all that information. So they're going to be looking for something where people are creative and they can kind of write up that kind of content. It was something I was interested in, but just with the time, I don't really have a whole lot of time to do it. I've always liked writing. I've always thought that I've been pretty decent at it. So I might jump in there and try to offer, you know, some sort of quest line or something later on. But yeah, if you're one of those people who feels like you want to get involved and you have an imagination and you like to write, that's something that I can recommend to you. And I think they're going about doing that on the official EQOA revival page. Jeremiah Johnson is the one who's started that up. So it's really cool that they're doing that. It's helping to get people involved. So I would definitely recommend doing that. If you're interested in that, you know, let me know. Just say something in the comments, because I'll dig into it more and find out the details. I think they might have a website up right now. I'm not entirely certain, but yeah, just let me know if you're interested in that. Now, I know a lot of you like to listen to me tell stories about, you know, the past and things about the game. I've pretty much done all of that, and I would be kind of just repeating myself if I went through that again. If you haven't seen my previous video or previous videos on EQOA and you like hearing stories, I recommend going back to that one, because this one's more like a current events thing, what's going on. There's really not any more stories I can tell that I haven't told like a dozen times. Now, about a week ago, maybe a little over a week ago, Sony announced that they are now Daybreak Games, which I don't think was really a shock to many people, because we know that Sony wasn't doing that good. They've kind of been bought up by a company that doesn't, from what I've read, doesn't have a very good reputation of treating the companies they buy out very well. Usually what they'll do is they'll try to like build up the companies they buy and then they sell them off. So I don't know, it could be really bad for Sony right now. Pretty much what Sony is saying is everything's still going as planned, which I personally think that's bullshit. How can you be in financial dire straits and everything is still, you know, stay the course? I don't. Obviously something needs to change because something wasn't working. There's people that are worried about the future of EverQuest. I was at first, but I'm not really worried about EverQuest. That's kind of like their flagship thing, and they have die-hard people that are still paying for it. I don't think that's going anywhere. EverQuest 2 might be in trouble. You know, upcoming projects like EverQuest Next, that might start to see a bit of trouble, because I know that's something that probably isn't going to be out for another couple years. We don't know how much funding is going to be able to go into that. That might be something that either gets scaled down. I can't see it being canceled outright. That would be a terrible waste of time and resources. But it's definitely going to affect it. Hopefully not in a bad way. A lot of people are saying that they're going to start making the move to mobile games. And that's when I started to think about EverQuest Online Adventures possibly maybe getting another shot. Because if I was Sony and I took a look at the mobile market, I would be thinking of porting EQOA to the mobile market. Now, I know some people are going, whoa, what the fuck? Hear me out. There's not a whole lot of good MMORPGs on a mobile device. I mean, Order and Chaos is pretty cool. I've been playing that. I really enjoy that game. But aside from that, there's really not much else out there. And if EQOA went on there, right away you've got a quality game that is ready to just be ported over. And devices can handle EQOA now. I mean, you know, let's face it, it's an older title. I think it could handle it. I don't know about the loading though, if they'd be able to handle, you know, just how seamless the game was. You didn't have to load anything. But it's possible. Um, the thing that would be tricky is trying to gauge how they would monetize it. Would they put adverts into it? You know, would they have like microtransactions? I can't really imagine microtransactions for EQOA unless they started bringing in new stuff. They'd have to start working on developing new things, and I just can't see them doing that. But it would be cool if they would do that and maybe bring in a new class or you know, new stuff that they could put into the game, like new races, new areas, some sort of microtransaction thing, or even just charging people like, you know, $4 or $5 a month, like what Order and Chaos used to do. I think it would do quite well because the name is already known, and you know, a lot of people have mobile devices now. They want a game on the go. Some people want a game at work when they're in the lunchroom. I know I like to do that. We've got Wi-Fi, stuff like that. It's just I think it would be good if you look at it as from the point of view of all the people who play like EverQuest, the original EverQuest, EverQuest 2. I think they would be supportive of it. Something that they can play on the go. I think it would work out. And for those of you who are thinking, oh my god, the controls would be awful, I've got an NVIDIA Shield Portable right here in my hand. And this thing kicks ass. It's really powerful. It runs a ton of different games like Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, Max Payne, Mountain Blade, Warband I've played on it. A shit ton of emulators. And basically what it is it's a tablet with a controller built into it. So it kind of feels like you're holding, say, like a PSP or something to that effect. But the battery lasts forever on this thing. It's a beast. It does everything a tablet can do, plus it plays games with the controller already built in. I mean, I was thinking of getting a tablet and then just getting a wireless controller, but it just doesn't suit my needs. I like to have an all-in-one package. And the cool thing about this device that will really pull people into it and say, yes, they should do this for EQOA, is I can hook up a mini HDMI to this beast, plug it into my TV, and boom, my games are on my TV. So if you're someone who wants the game back on a console, you can just play in console mode. That's what they call it on the NVIDIA Shield. You can plug the thing in, close the lid on it, flip over to console mode, and use a wireless controller if you want. And it essentially turns it into a console, and you can be playing EverQuest Online Adventures like that. Now, this is all just a big dream of mine that they'll do that. They most likely won't, but I think it would be an intelligent move on their behalf, and I'm pretty sure they're going to start making a move to mobile. I mean, it just seems like something they're going to do with the, you know, their Daybreak games now. So usually when companies do that sort of thing, they get bought out, they start thinking of how am I going to bring in money? Mobile games make a lot of money, so yeah, it's just a thought, but it would be cool. But it would just be amazing being able to just plug it in, play it on TV like you did back in the day, and then take it with you. If you thought EQOA was addictive back in the day, imagine being able to pick that shit up with you and take it with you on like the bus to work, or if you're younger, you know, back in those days, having it on the bus going to school or some shit. Of course, Wi-Fi would be out of the picture, but you know, 3G or whatever, you'd be able to do it. But yeah, it's something that I would really be interested in, probably more than anything else, even more than the emulator we've got going on. I think it would just be really cool. I've actually suggested this on the EverQuest forums. Of course, nobody responded, but hey, what can you do, you know? Hopefully, they'll start to think about the mobile market, and they'll think, hey, what about this game? I mean, and then, you know, logic kicks in, and I start thinking, wow, that game already kind of failed, and they shut it down, so they'd probably just come up with something new, you know, because they don't have the fucking brains to understand how powerful nostalgia is, and how many people would actually hop on board with that. I miss druids. I know that's like out of the blue. I really miss my druid. I was thinking about that the other day. I was watching Guardians of the Galaxy, and Groot was on, and he was doing, you know, all that druid shit, growing leaves and putting up like a protective shield barrier around everybody. I was like, hey, that reminds me of my druid when I used to be able to, you know, cast stone skin and shit like that. And I started thinking, not many MMOs have druids in them. If you really think about it, World of Warcraft does. But outside of World of Warcraft and the EverQuest games, I can't really think of MMOs that use druids. I miss my fucking druid, man. And I miss my mage and my necro, because I like having pets and sending them in to whoop everybody's ass. I also miss my alchemist, because you don't really see anything like that in any other game. Whenever you see an alchemist in a game, he's just crafting potions. It's like a crafting profession. You don't get to mix potions together and throw them at people for AoE effects and shit. EverQuest Online Adventures was unique in that way. You know, the alchemist class, I don't think anybody's ever done anything like that before or since. It's just hard to find a game like EQOA. It's just it was so unique. Even the original EverQuest doesn't really do it. It comes close, but it doesn't do it. The closest thing, I've said this before, was Vanguard, and Vanguard is gone. They shut that down. I mean, that's the closest I got to that feeling when I was running around, you know, killing rat men with a bunch of people that I met on there. You know, I did a video announcing to people that, hey, let's all play Vanguard. It'll be really cool. And I played for a little while, and then I stopped because it just, I couldn't get out of my head that this is going to be getting shut down. Don't get too attached. It's like when you get a pet and it dies, and you're like, oh, I don't ever want to go through that again. It was kind of like that. I started to feel like, shit, I don't want to get I don't want to get hurt again when this shuts down, so maybe I should just stop playing. But when I did play, man, it felt a lot like EverQuest Online Adventures. And that's why I hope Pantheon Rise of the Fallen really works out with Brad McQuaid. And I'm really shocked at how that's been moving along. I thought that was going to fall apart after the whole Reddit, or not Reddit, the whole Kickstarter disaster. That just fell apart, and people just dove all over it, and just talking an obscene amount of shit about Brad in the game. But, you know, he's still going forward with that, and it looks really good. So I'm following that. I think that's probably the best chance we have of getting an old school EQA feeling game. But I don't just want a game that feels like EQA. I want EQA back. I'm not easy to please. And I've jumped around from game to game. The latest game I played was Final Fantasy XIV, and it's a really good game. I mean, there was so much to do in it. I know a lot of you guys probably played it. I've talked about it a few times. It's just really good. It feels like a Final Fantasy game, but online. It's just a mix of a bunch of different Final Fantasy games. But I don't play it for long. I'll play it for like 2 or 3 months, then I won't play it for a while. I'll unsub. Then I'll come back to it for a little while, and it just, I don't know, there's something about your first MMO that just keeps you engaged. Nothing has done that for me. Maybe it was because it was the first time with EverQuest Island Adventures that it just pulled me in, and I didn't want to stop playing it. I played it consistently for a few years without ever canceling my subscription and doing anything else. And, you know, there were times where it got monotonous to the point where I didn't even want to do anything anymore. I would just stand around and talk, but I still hung in there and played, even with the lack of content. Because I think it was just because it was the first time. But we've got Elder Scrolls Online coming out soon. I can't say soon, soon-ish, around June. If they don't push it back again, it's coming to consoles. It's going to be buy to play, not free to play. I know a lot of people get that confused. It's like Guild Wars. You have to buy it, but then it's free. And then you can subscribe to it if you so choose to do so. Too many syllables. But yeah. Elder Scrolls Online. I know a lot of people have dissed it and talked shit about it, but I still want to try it out. It's something new, and let's be honest, there's not a whole hell of a lot to grab onto anymore with MMOs. It's just a genre that it hasn't done well. You know, a lot of these games just don't do well. They almost always end up going free to play, and it's a shame. But you know, it's kind of a crowded market. You've got so many fucking games out there that you know, only a couple of them are doing well. Final Fantasy XIV is doing well enough where they're like, we're not switching our subscription plan. But this is not going free to play. Final Fantasy XI is still a subscription-based game, and that game came out in like what, 2002? I think it came out in 2002 on PC, and then came out on PS2, 2004, something like that. It's been around for a while. I think you can still play it on PS2, for Christ's sake. That is an old game, and you still have to pay $15 a month to play it. I believe it's 15. Maybe it was $12.99. At any rate, there's only a few games that get by with a subscription. It pisses me off because I don't like free-to-play games, and I remember seeing a ton of people bitching about Elder Scrolls Online. Go free-to-play, go free-to-play. I don't think people know what they're asking for when they do that, you know? I was kind of on the fence about free-to-play, but at this point, I just fucking hate it because it just sucks, man. What can you say? I'd rather just pay for everything and know I'm going to get it than spending $5 to get more money capacity in my wallet, and fucking $9.99 to get 12 more bag slots, and shit like that. Just let me pay $15 a month, $15 a month, and have everything unlocked. No bullshit. You know, if you want to throw in a cash shop for like vanity items, I don't care. That's fine. Cosmetic stuff doesn't really matter to me. But yeah, you know, MMOs, they're not what they used to be, that's for damn sure. And I apologize if this video's been, you know, kind of like depressing, I guess is what I'd call it. Low-key, I'm talking like this, you know. But I'm just bummed out. This year is different than most other years. You know, the 11th anniversary, I was bummed. 10th, I was bummed. You know, but I approached it more cheerfully. You know, I had more enthusiasm. This year, it just feels like I am the farthest away from EverQuest Online Adventures I've ever been, and it's weird because I can play the emulator, and there's people that, you know, they don't know how to set it up or they can't set it up. I'm not sure what's going on with that. I thought that Revival was letting everybody download it. I don't know if you can access it or not, but I think it's on some torrenting sites, torrents, bleh. But I don't know. It's weird. It's like whenever I play it, it just depresses me. And I'm going through now, in between the commentary I'm laying down, and I'm going through just trying to find places to run through. And it's really laggy because I still have the same shitty computer. I said I was going to upgrade. I haven't. I bought a PS4 instead, and then I ended up getting an NVIDIA Shield, and, you know, bills and other things like that. I just haven't gotten a better computer. I want to build one for like $500 because the computer I've got right now, it sucks. But yeah, you know, it's just kind of a depressing video this year, and I apologize because, like I said, I feel further away from the game than I've ever felt, and I'm running around, and I'm looking at Hollis, I'm looking at Surefall Glade, and it's empty, and it's depressing, and it just, you know, it's a mixed bag of emotions, and I'm sure most of you would feel the same way, or do feel the same way if you're running through it. You know, it's something that I won't play it for a while because I just don't want to feel that way. And then I'll hop in and run around a little bit. I'll go to Crocs or, you know, all the places I remember. It's always the earlier spots for me. I don't know if it's like that for you guys. You know, if it's the earlier leveling places you really remember or really have a nostalgic feeling for. Some people might, you know, they might go to endgame raid content and be like, oh, this was so amazing. For me, it's the starting towns. I've said that before, I think. Like I said, I'm going to repeat myself. I'm sorry. It's all the starting areas, you know, where you used to go from, like, level 1 till like I'd say probably level 30 or 40. The pre-front stuff, you know. But I do have fond memories of the Frontiers content. I definitely love Phantoms, the Safed Moots, Safed Moots, I believe that's how you pronounce it. Harpies, Cobbles, all that shit, you know. I just, the more I play it, the more I think about what it could have been and how much further it could have went. You know, we could have had so many different races and so much stuff that just didn't turn out. Somewhere out there in a parallel dimension, EverQuest Online Adventures is still going, and it's on its 18th expansion, bitch. Fuck. Why didn't they bring this to PC? You know, why? No, it's all about EverQuest 2. EverQuest 2 is our baby. Fuck EverQuest 2, man. God, I'm sorry. If you like that game, I'm sorry, but you have to understand, EverQuest 2 is a huge thorn in EverQuest Online Adventures' side. I mean, it was just in competition. It's so fucking stupid. Why are you going to make a game? Oh, here we go. I'm going to rant now. Why are you going to make a game alongside another game that's going to compete with your fucking own game? It doesn't make sense. EQOA should have been on PC, PS2, and it should have been cross-platform the way Final Fantasy does it. Final Fantasy 11, Final Fantasy 14. That's why Final Fantasy 11 is still around. Because it's still relevant. You fuckers. Ugh. Fucking Daybreak games. Kiss my ass, Smedley. You fucker. But anyway, I think I've droned on and on long enough. If you're still with me, you've got stamina, my friend. You must have put all your points into stamina. Because my charisma is really low right now. This was just kind of a cynical video. It's just a weird time for me. My channel is in a weird place because I don't really know where to take it. EverQuest Online Adventures cannot come back soon enough. I hope things, I hope there's a breakthrough soon so I can get something together where I can quest with people and raid and do shit like that to bring some of the interest back into this channel. H-Hour, hopefully that works out and it doesn't suck. Because SOF Studios has been pissing me off consistently, and I have not talked about H-Hour in a while. That's why my feelings are really conflicted over that game. They pissed me off when they blocked Turbin, one of the people who was extremely important to the project. But that's another game and a discussion for another time. What it's down to right now is that it has been 12 years since EverQuest Online Adventures came out. I'm still hanging on, man. I'm still clinging to hope. When others have walked away, you're here with me. You're still clinging on to hope. Hopefully something happens. I fucking miss this game. I love you guys. I thank you very much for sticking with me as long as you have. And, Godspeed to everybody working on EQOA right now, because I need it. I need a hero, and I'm holding out for a hero. And I'm not going to sing that because it would be really corny. I might put it in the end of the video, though. Nah, I won't do that. That'd be fucking stupid. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Happy anniversary, guys.